Welcome to the Stanley Cup Playoff Buzz, a daily look at the races for the 2022 NHL postseason. There are 20 days left in the regular season, and the races in each of the four divisions are tight. The top three teams in each of the four divisions, and the next two highest-placed finishers in each conference reach the playoffs. Here is a look at the NHL standings and everything else that could impact the playoff picture. Stanley Cup Playoffs clinching scenarios for Tuesday. Eastern Conference. The Tampa Bay Lightning will clinch a playoff berth if they defeat the Dallas Stars in any fashion, or if they get 1 point against the Stars and the Pittsburgh Penguins defeat the New York Islanders in any fashion, or if the Penguins defeat the Islanders in regulation. The Boston Bruins will clinch a playoff berth if they defeat the St. Louis Blues in any fashion and the Penguins defeat the Islanders in any fashion, or if they get 1 point against the Blues and the Penguins defeat the Islanders in regulation. The Penguins will clinch a playoff berth if they defeat the Islanders in regulation. On tap. There are 14 games on the NHL schedule Tuesday, 12 with playoff implications. St. Louis Blues at Boston Bruins. The Blues have won 5 straight games to tie the Minnesota Wild for second in the Central Division. St. Louis leads the fourth-place Nashville Predators by 7 points. The Bruins, who hold the first wild card into the Stanley Cup playoffs from the Eastern Conference, are 1 point behind the Tampa Bay Lightning for third in the Atlantic Division. The Bruins, who have lost 2 of their past 3 games, are 5 points ahead of the Washington Capitals, who hold the second wild card. Buffalo Sabres at Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs, who are 7-0-1 in their past 8, clinched a playoff berth Saturday, and are second in the Atlantic, 8 points behind the first-place Florida Panthers and 4 points ahead of the third-place Lightning. Maple Leafs forward Austin Matthews leads the NHL with 58 goals. He has multiple goals in each of his past 2 games, and 51 goals in his past 50. The Sabres have lost 3 in a row, and are eliminated from playoff contention. Anaheim Ducks at Florida Panthers. The Panthers have won 7 straight games, and 10 of their past 11. They are first in the Atlantic, 8 points ahead of the Maple Leafs. Forward Jonathan Huberdeau has an 11-game point streak for the Panthers, who have clinched a playoff berth. The Ducks were eliminated from playoff contention Sunday. Carolina Hurricanes at New York Rangers. The top 2 teams in the Metropolitan Division face off Tuesday, with the first-place Hurricanes 2 points ahead of the second-place Rangers, who could tie for first with a regulation win. Carolina is 3-3-1 in its past 7 games, with losses in 3 of 5. New York is 7-1-1 in its past 9, and 6 points ahead of the third-place Pittsburgh Penguins. The Hurricanes and Rangers have each clinched a playoff berth. Philadelphia Flyers at Washington Capitals. The Capitals swept back-to-back games this weekend with wins against the Penguins on Saturday and Bruins on Sunday to edge closer to the Penguins in the Metropolitan. Washington is 4 points behind Pittsburgh for third in the division after winning 3 straight games, and leads the New York Islanders by 15 points for the second wild card from the East. The Flyers have been eliminated from playoff contention. New York Islanders at Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby scored his 1,400th point in his 1,100th NHL game, and the Penguins earned a crucial win against the Nashville Predators, 3-2 in overtime, Sunday. The Penguins, who had lost 4 straight, and were 2-6-1 in their previous 9, are third in the Metropolitan, 6 points behind the second-place Rangers and 4 ahead of the fourth-place Capitals. The Islanders, 5-2-0 in their past 7, are 15 points behind the Capitals for the second wild card from the East. Edmonton Oilers at Minnesota Wild. The Wild are 8-0-1 in their past 9 games at home, 10-1-2 in their past 13 overall, and defenseman Jared Spurgeon has a 7-game assist and point streak, matching the longest streaks in team history by a defenseman in both categories. The Wild are tied with the Blues for second in the Central, 16 points behind the first-place Colorado Avalanche. The Oilers, 6-0-1 in their past 7, are second in the Pacific Division, 7 points behind the first-place Calgary Flames, and 4 ahead of the third-place Los Angeles Kings. San Jose Sharks at Nashville Predators. The Predators, who start a 5-game homestand, hold the first wild card into the playoffs from the Western Conference, 1 point ahead of the Dallas Stars. Nashville, 4-2-1 in its past 7, is 7 points behind St. Louis and Minnesota for third in the Central. The Sharks are 19 points behind the Stars for the second wild card from the West, and will be eliminated from playoff contention if they lose in regulation, and the Kings defeat the Chicago Blackhawks in any fashion, and either the Stars defeat the Lightning in any fashion, or the Vegas Golden Knights get at least 1 point against the Vancouver Canucks. Los Angeles Kings at Chicago Blackhawks. The Kings have lost 3 straight, allowing the Wild to score 6 unanswered goals against them in a 6-3 loss Sunday, and are third in the Pacific, 4 points behind the second-place Oilers and 2 ahead of the fourth-place Golden Knights. The Blackhawks have been eliminated from playoff contention. Seattle Kraken at Calgary Flames. The Flames and Kraken are playing their second straight game against each other, after Calgary won 4-1 on the road Saturday in the first home-and-home set in Seattle's history. The win against the Kraken was the 4th straight for the Flames, who are first in the Pacific, 7 points ahead of the second-place Oilers. Matty Beniers, the number 2 pick in the 2021 NHL Draft, will make his NHL debut for the Kraken, who have been eliminated from playoff contention. Tampa Bay Lightning at Dallas Stars. The Lightning and Stars will face off in a rematch from the 2020 Stanley Cup Final. The Lightning are third in the Atlantic, 4 points behind the second-place Maple Leafs, and 1 ahead of the fourth-place Bruins. The Lightning shut out the Sabres 5-0 on Sunday, after they were 0-2-2 in their previous 4 games. The Stars hold the second wild card from the West, 1 point behind the Predators for the first wild card, and 2 ahead of the Golden Knights. Vegas Golden Knights at Vancouver Canucks. Both the Golden Knights and Canucks are outside of the top 8 teams in the West and need a win. The Golden Knights are 2 points behind the Stars for the second wild card, and 2 behind the Kings for third in the Pacific. The Canucks are 4 points behind the Golden Knights. The Canucks defeated the Golden Knights 5-1 on Wednesday, after the Golden Knights defeated the Canucks 3-2 in overtime April 3. Since that game, the Canucks have won 3 straight, including the win against the Golden Knights. If playoffs started Tuesday. Here is a look at the matchups for the first round as they stand entering games Tuesday. Eastern Conference. Florida Panthers vs. Washington Capitals. Carolina Hurricanes vs. Boston Bruins. Toronto Maple Leafs vs. Tampa Bay Lightning. New York Rangers vs. Pittsburgh Penguins. Western Conference. Colorado Avalanche vs. Dallas Stars. Calgary Flames vs. Nashville Predators. Minnesota Wild vs. St. Louis Blues. Edmonton Oilers vs. Los Angeles Kings. About last night. There was one game Monday with playoff implications. Winnipeg Jets 4, Montreal Canadiens 2. The Jets won their second straight after a 4-game skid, and gained ground on the Dallas Stars for the second wild card into the playoffs from the Western Conference. Forward Morgan Barron had a goal and an assist for Winnipeg, which passed the Vancouver Canucks in the West standings and is 5 points behind Dallas. The Canadiens, 1-3-0 in their past 4, have been eliminated from playoff contention.